Hey guys, what's going on? Wanted to talk to you about a topic here that crossed my mind the other day, and somebody introduced it to me, and it got me thinking. It really got me thinking. Basically, it goes like this: the people who are at the bottom, or when we feel we're at the bottom of our life, things aren't going our way. We're at rock bottom. Um, just any point in life when we feel like things couldn't be more worse. Of course, they always could be, right? But it's this analogy that goes like this: when things are at rock bottom, when we're at our worst, when we're down here and we're feeling low and things aren't going well in our lives, we have way more room that we can move around. We have way more room that we could move up. There's more space in between, right? That's the analogy. Now, when I think about this, it really just gives me hope, because there's all kinds of possibilities that could happen inside of that between space that we don't think about. Opportunities to succeed, opportunities to try new things. Even if we fail, we have all this room that we really can, go up. We have more room to rise to the top. And it's an interesting concept that was introduced to me. I've never heard anything like this before, but it's all about perspective in 2025. Like I said, guys, it's a new year. New things are happening. The world is changing. Perspective. Perspective is everything. So, having said that, I want to dive deeper into this analogy with you. We have way more space than we think. There is way more slack in the rope of life than we think. We are programmed so much to assume that once we hit rock bottom, that we can't go up, that we're stuck there. That is so far from the truth. I know that I get in those moods, those moments where I think that if I'm stuck down at the bottom, that there's no way that I can move up, spiritually, and or just success wise. I get stuck in that mentality, and it's not true. We have all this room in between. It's like sitting in a larger empty room versus a smaller empty room. You have more space to travel. It might be an empty room, but you get to make happen in that room happen. You get to make whatever you want in that room come reality, essentially. Your reality. And that's how it is with us in life, is that, sometimes we take journeys, we take detours around, and that doesn't mean that we're moving down. Sometimes we're just destined to go on separate journeys off to the side, maybe, the left or the right, or, another analogy that had been brought to my attention was this aspect of you're on a trail, right? And when you're on a trail, it's not always a straight path. Sometimes you go around um and take different side paths. But at the end of the day, they all lead you back to your destination. So if you wanted to take a hike and you decided you wanted to take a detour, sure, it might add a few minutes of travel time, but at the end of the day, you're most likely going to say, okay, after I take this detour, it's going to be longer. It's going to be more time getting to my destination, but it might be more scenic, or it might be, um, there may be a few stops along the way that I want to check out. So maybe I should make it worth my while and do this detour. And that's how life is. Um, and it's so much easier said than done, said than realized. That is something that I'm trying to get um, figured out, is that with me, I'm trying to make that a strong point of that, that action. We realize it, but taking action on behalf of, actually applying it to our lives. We hear it, but then apply. Um, and it's crazy to think about, but we go on these journeys and we have so much more room than we realize. It's not over because one or two or three or five or 100 things go wrong, or 5,000 things. It doesn't matter. Um, and that's what I'm slowly beginning to realize, is that, you know, we're all on that level playing field where we all have that potential. And I think that room in between that we've been talking about here, and I've been talking about with you guys, is crucial. It's a chance to learn, it's a chance to grow, it's a detour, it's a journey. And I feel that it's important for us to really dive deep and learn more about ourselves in that space. We get the opportunity to, like I said in the last video, meet new people, um, reach out. Those are the small opportunities we get on our journey to the top. We'll eventually get there again, and we might fall down again and then pick ourselves up. There's a movie, one of my favorite movies, The Dark Knight. Um, and it's actually back Batman Begins, I think. It's the very first movie. Either way, where Alfred is talking to Bruce, and he says, "Why do we fall, sir? So we can pick ourselves back up." And I think that is, like, first of all, not only is Batman like my favorite series of all time, there's such a darkness to it that you can learn about. And I think Bruce was really going through that dark time, and I can connect with that, and I think a lot of you could as well. If you look at Bruce, he was going through a lot. Like, he had a lot of the material things around him where he didn't care about as much. He could flaunt them, but they wouldn't mean much to him. That's because those things aren't important. Those aren't, they don't, in 2025, we need to move on from materialistic mindset, because money right now, at least it seems, doesn't get us as far as it used to. And going back to Bruce, you could just tell that when Alfred said this to him, that, you know, Bruce had fallen numerous times, and, you know, literally and figuratively, he had fallen and picked himself back up. climbing the wall that Bane had climbed for years, or climbing, climbing out of a pit, you know. I probably don't have my details right on all this, but it's still one of my favorite series. It's an analogy and a quote that really woke me up. I don't want to go down that path too much, but Bruce was at a really dark time in his life, and Alfred comes in with this quote, and it really hits me. Bruce is, and Batman is known as the enemy of Gotham for such a hero that he is, and he's Batman. He's what Gotham needs him to be. And people always spat on his name. So when we fall, we fall because we need to learn to pick ourselves up. So that space in between is so crucial. We need to climb that wall several times and fall, and climb it and fall. It's about the journey. And for Bruce, it was about what he learned down below, in that cell, in that dark space that he was, in that cave, in that it was always a confined dark space for him where he learned the most. And even Gotham, was dark always. So not to go too much more down that rabbit hole, but I think we are at our very lowest right now, as a whole, and we have so much potential in between. So don't lose sight and don't lose track of that space in between, and utilize it. Really take hold of that space that you have, and that time, and that learning experience, because you're going to get to your destination. You're going to get there, and that's all that matters. But you really want to take hold of the journey. That is the crucial point and lesson here. And this is something that I need to learn. This is something that we all can learn from. It's not about how many wrongs you've wronged or how many rights you've right. Nobody's counting. I can't even count on my fingers for myself. So it's about learning from the past and moving forward in that manner. So if you give yourself 5 months at this and you still haven't got it, and you still aren't making progress, it's about the journey. It's about starting on that first day of that first month and changing and adjusting your mindset so that you don't have a negative mindset. So when things aren't going the way you want them to, then that's okay. You're fine either way. Some people, they just don't care. Some people, they don't care who thinks what about them, how much money they have, what friends they have, what they did today, what they're going to accomplish tomorrow. They just don't care. I think having a heart is important. Like I mentioned in the last video, reach out. Again, reach out. But while you're fighting your battles, don't hesitate to explore that in-between space. That in-between space is your sauce, to your spaghetti noodles. It's really crucial. It's your main entree. It's your main course. It's what you need to focus on. It's what's important and on the overall plate. You know what I mean? You got all these things on your plate, but that empty space that you can utilize is, you know, you ever eat from your plate and then you finish and you notice all the food is gone? Well, you have more room now. You can go back for a second plate if you want to, or you have an empty plate. You can clean it, put it away now, then start again tomorrow. And you're always left with that empty plate. So the space in between needs to be utilized and learned from. And I think that the biggest key here is that if you're on the bottom, you're ahead. Why are you ahead? Because you have way more room that you can succeed. See, somebody on top they've already reached the ceiling, essentially. I'm not putting a limit on us. I'm not putting a limit on myself. I'm not putting a limit. There is no limit. The sky's the limit. But at a certain point, you kind of reach that ceiling where you've already got all the nice material things. You've already traveled to all the places. Like, that only goes so far in this life, because when we're gone, we're gone. And everybody's got their own opinion, but we're not taking those things with us at the end of the day. They're kind of just materialized. They're material possessions. They're always going to come out with a new thing, right? That's why it's hard to play keeping up with the Joneses and getting on this bandwagon. It gets us in trouble. We know it does, and then we're stuck at the bottom all over again. So it's just not worth it. That's why people don't care. The no caring mindset is kind of like, in a positive way, of course. It's kind of like, you don't have to have the fastest car. You don't have to have the newest house or the best lawn tractor or whatever. You don't have to eat at the most expensive restaurant. And it's a lifestyle. So if you're at the bottom today, you're actually ahead. Why? In closing, why are you ahead? You have that space. You have more room to grow than somebody at the top does. I think that's great, because as many times as you drop off, you say, I don't care. I love the people around me. I can learn from this experience. It's going to be fun. We can travel. I can do new things, meet new people. I can get married. I can start a family. I can move locations. Like I said, utilize that to your advantage. Don't think of the negatives as negatives all the time just because society says it's a negative. It's a positive. So if you're at the bottom today and you have no hope and you don't think things are going to get better, they are, because they already are better. They're good because you have it good. You're at the bottom and you got all this space here to grow. Use it as a learning experience. I love you guys. Take care. Take it easy. Have a great day.